Okay, I think my screen should be up again now, correct? Is my screen up now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so this is AOC based on the information that we're able to gather, right? So the questions goes thus. First, what do you understand? What do you understand by farm management? Elucidate the principle of effective planning. Then read everything about planning under farm management. So please note that, and D, business plan. Please note that ABCD was given to us by Dr. Abu. So definitely its number one question is on business plan. So this D. So I'll try and review business plan with us this evening, explain to us the basic principle involved in writing business plan. We'll discuss that this evening. So business plan and one questions on planning. So I'm thinking it's going to be B. If you check, what do you understand by farm management? It's big, right? It's just to explain farm management, but it lay more emphasis on planning. So expect more question on planning and farm management. So that is for Dr. Abu. Then another lecturer too came up with another AOC, meaning what is the meaning of small scale business and agricultural finance. So this one will clear it fast. We will discuss what are the factors that determines that if a business is small scale or not. Then what are the various sources of finance? We will discuss that as well. Then Dr. Iwale now gave us another question saying that specialized finance funding, that is scheme and initiative, that we are to memorize 4 definitions, objective, period of establishment, advantage and disadvantage of the following. Give us a couple of them. We have about high or whatever. There are many, all these initiative by governments, to support agricultural business. So he gave us a couple of them, but he requested that we should know about 4 of them. Okay, we should know about 4 of this. So what you permit me to do is this, that these F parts, allow me to do a proper job on them. So I'll get back to us on Thursday with the summarized notes, because I've not really gone through this F. Okay, I had a very busy day today, but let's take care of A to E. Then we can review 1 year past questions for tonight. So objective is at least understand this A to E first of all. Leave F till Thursday. That's in 2 days' time, when we'll be having our final revision on Fin 838. So let's start with the first question. What do you understand by farm management? So what do you understand by farm management? So who want to try this for us? What is farm management? Okay, what is farm management? Does anybody want to try? What do you understand by the farm management? So anybody want to try this? Should I call names? Just tell me what you understand by farm management. Simple. There are many
I
farmers
can.
there. Yeah, Ima, please go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead, go
just
ahead, go
wanted to
ahead.
ask something before we talk about farm management. Was it Dr. Abu that um explained what management was to us? That he talked about management, part of
Yes.
getting things done
Dr.
together.
Abu is on farm management and business plan.
Okay. So I think we can use definition of act of getting things done through others, explaining management first before we now maybe break it
So
down into
just
farm
say,
management.
oh
I'm
yeah,
just saying.
okay. Now let's go with your idea. Farm management. I told you that anything management, when you are defining anything management, say it is the process. Yesterday when we were defining financial distress, I started by saying it is a process. So management is more or less like a process. So it is a process. Farm management is a process of directing. Yeah, keep listening all those quality for me. Planning, coordinating,
Organizing,
organizing,
coordinating,
financing. Oh yeah, what else again?
directing,
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 yeah. Oh
leading,
yeah.
staffing,
Tell me.
staffing.
Staffing. Okay. Any other thing again?
Put it on.
Of
That's
just
finished.
put of farm
Budgeting
activities.
too. Hmm.
Okay, financing, let's say budgeting, of budgeting. Okay, organizing of farm activities to achieve optimal returns or maximum output at the lowest cost. So this is how I can define farm management. So it is a process of directing, planning, coordinating, budgeting, organizing, financing. I'm repeating directly 2 times, don't mind me. Staffing or farm activities, right? Uh, uh, Farm activities, right, to achieve optimal returns or maximum output. So that is how farm management can be defined. So let's look at Dr. Abu's own too. So you can say farm management refers to the practice. You can say process of practice, right? Of planning, organizing, directing, we even do over syllabus, and controlling farm operations. You know, in our own, we say farm activities is same thing. Farm operations to maximize what? Productivity, profitability, and sustainability. So here, we say to maximize output, profitability, and sustainability, right? So that is what farm management is all about. So it also involves allocation of resources. When we talk about resources, what is the resources? That's man, land, labor, capital, input. It also involves allocation of scarce resources, such as what? Land, labor, capital, and input to achieve a target goal. So this is how you can define a farm management. So the entire operations that is involved in managing farm activities or farm operation, that is what farm management is all about. So he now went further to discuss each of them. Planning was discussed separately, directing was discussed separately, all of them was, financing was discussed separately. But just know that the farm management is all encompassing. Okay, it involves everything about farming activities. So that is what farm management is all about. It's all encompassing. It involves everything about farm activities. So that is what farm management is all about. So please, is there anyone that have questions on farm management? I want to move on to the next one. Anybody? Please, is there anyone that have question on farm management, please? So I want to assume that that farm management is clear to everybody. Now, the next question is elucidate the principle of effective planning. So what are the principle of effective plannings, right? That is the next question. So I'm suspecting one thing, that Dr. Abu might play a cheat code on us. There will be 1A, 1B. 1A, define farm management, which we have just done now. Then 1B, it can be elucidate the principle of effective planning. So if you see 1A, 1B like this in the exam, oh, don't be surprised. So let's take planning as a topic now. Since he said read everything about planning, so permit me to spend the next 5 minutes on planning alone. So I'm not going to talk about anything. I'm focusing on only planning. So yesterday, we discussed corporate planning yesterday, right? So here too, let's discuss about planning separately. So what is planning? So planning is a process of defining goals, setting objectives, and outlining the necessary steps to achieve desired outcomes. So you can also say that when you are planning, that is when you are trying to put whatever strategies that you have defined, you are trying to define a roadmap on how you want to achieve those strategies. It is through planning. All right. Planning is how you want to achieve your goals. when you are trying to define a process, setting a blueprint on how you want to achieve your goals, whatever goals and objectives that you have set, how do you want to achieve it? That is what planning. It is under planning that you are going to define the various steps. E.g., in the next 5 years, you want to get married, right? So what are the processes involved in getting married in the next 5 years? You have to plan it, right? Your goal, your strategy is 5 years time, you want to do this. So how do you achieve that? That is your planning. What and what you need to do to put in place now to achieve that. That is what planning is all about. So planning is more or less like a medium to long time, right? And it is more on execution. Planning is more on you trying to execute whatever target that you have set for yourself, right? So planning serves as a foundation for effective decision making, and it is under planning that you'll be able to allocate your resources. Oh yeah, I need 5 people to be here. I need 4 people. It is the planning that will tell you how your resources should be allocated. What are the number of staff, number of materials, how much do you need? It is during that planning phase that you will be able to set those things. So planning is more on execution, right? So let's move on now. So I believe I've been able to explain what planning is all about. Now, there are about 6 types of planning. The first one is strategic planning. So under strategic planning, this one is you are focusing more on long-term planning, right? E.g., you are defining a 5 years business strategies or 5 years national economic policy, or let's bring it to farming now. What is your plan for the next 5 years for your farm? That's your strategic planning. It's more on long time. Strategic is more of a long time planning. Okay. 5 years upward like that. That's strategies. Then the next one is known as tactical planning. So under tactical planning is basically on medium term planning. What are the various tactics that you want to adopt for your operations? That is what tactical planning. So your tactical planning is more or less like a medium time. Note, strategic planning is long time. Tactical is a medium term, right? Then operational, these are the day-to-day. E.g., how many shifts are we running today? How many workers do we need on site? That is operational. The number of shifts you are working, are you using NEPA, or do you want to run on generator? Those are the operational decisions. So they are operational planning, which happens on day-to-day basis. Then the next one is financial planning. I'm sure we know all this. This is where you plan for your income and expenses through your budget. So financial planning is done through budget. This is where you plan for your income and expenses. That's what financial planning is all about. Then there's another one called contingency planning. Contingency planning is the planning that involves you planning for unforeseen circumstances, e.g., what if X-Men attack our farm? X-Men approach our farm. They destroy our destiny. What plan do we have to salvage that? That is contingency. Anything contingency usually involve unforeseen. You don't know if it will happen, but it just happen. That is contingency planning. So you also need to make provision for contingency planning as well. Correct? So that is basically what contingency. So contingency is for all foreseen circumstances. Then resource planning. So this resource planning is almost similar. I think it's a repetition with operational planning because they're almost the same thing. Because under resource planning, here, this is when you are trying to allocate, okay, manpower. Yeah, you, 2 of you should be on this shift. 3 of you should come for night. 2 of you should be. So this is when it's more of operational planning, right? But because the lecturer splitted it, let's leave it like this as well. So these are the 6 types of planning that we need to understand. Please, do we understand these 6 types of planning, please? Is there anyone that doesn't understand anything about this 6 types of planning? Can I move on? So strategic is a long-term planning. Tactical is medium-term planning. Operational is day-to-day planning, what you do every day. Financial planning, when you are planning for your income and expenditure through your budget. Contingency planning, planning for unforeseen circumstances. A disease can affect your crop that will kill all your crop. So what contingency plan do we have? Just like a very good example we gave yesterday, when something affected one tomato farm, that tomato now became scarce in Nigeria. That situation was worsened because there was no contingent planning. Then resource plan is to how do you allocate your resources? So this is a 6 type of planning that we should know. Please, let's take note of this. Now, the next thing that I would like to discuss is what are the steps involved in planning? Now, you want to plan now. What are the steps involved in planning? So there are several steps involved in planning. So I'm going to critically analyze those 7 steps. There are 7 steps involved in any planning. The first one is identify the what objective. What do you want to achieve first of all? If you don't, it's just like you want to drive from Lagos to you start your car. You don't know where you are going. You just put your car on the road without any destination. That is nonsense, right? When you start your engine, you know, oh, I'm going to K2, I'm going to Ireland, I'm going to Unilag. That's your objective. So first thing is that identify your objective. Oh, this year we want to achieve 20 tons of maize production. That's your objective. So in any planning, the first thing is what do you want to achieve? You must first identify your objective. Then after you have identified the objective, the next step is for you to now analyze the current situation. Okay, what is currently happening now? You analyze the existing condition. What resources do you need? What is market saying about this? You analyze those current, because this analysis of current situation can even make you to stop that you're planning. If things doesn't go well with this number 2, you can stop that number 1. E.g., you set a planning for yourself that I want to drive to Unilag from Ikeja. Suddenly, when you check the map tells you that road is blocked. That means you have to abort your planning because it cannot work. So when you analyze your current situation in steps 2, it can either tells you whether you should continue or you should stop your planning. Then step 3 is now you have agreed that step 1 is okay. Step 2 is okay. Now, what are the various alternatives? What are the various options that you have? Alternative are your options. What are the various options? Or e.g., I want to go to Unilag from Ikeja. Should I go through Ikorodu Road or should I go and go through Oshodi? Various options are there. You analyze your what? You list out your alternatives. That's step 3. Then under the step 4, the next thing you do under planning is that those options that you have listed in step 3, this is where you will now perform the main work. In fact, the biggest work is done at step 4 because it is here that you need to analyze each of the options that you have listed in step 3. This is when you are going to analyze them very well. Okay, if I'm going to Unilag from Ikeja, it will take me 20 minutes. And if I'm going through the other route, it will take me 15 minutes. However, there are VIO there and your vehicle paper is not complete. Should you risk taking 15 minutes? So you will do a lot of scenarios, the analysis in step 4. You analyze your options, the pros, the cons, everything. So it is after you have been able to evaluate your options, that is when you cannot take a decision. That will now lead you to step 5. So under step 5, this is when you now develop a plan that this is what I want to do. Now my final decision, I'm going to Unilag and I will pass through the Ikorodu Road. That's my decision. Okay, that is your decision. So it's under step 5 that you develop your plan, your decision. Then step 6 is whatever plan that you have developed in step 5, you implement it. That's what you do under step 6. You have to implement whatever thing you have planned in step 5. You implement. Then final steps is you now you set up a tools that you can use to monitor whatever plan you have developed and adjust where necessary. So, ladies and gentlemen, these 7 steps are what you need to understand about stages in planning. Let me recap them again. Identify the objective. What do you want to achieve? That is the objective. Step 2, analyze the current situations. What is the current happening now? That's step 2. Step 3, what are the various options you have? Alternative. Step 4, evaluate those options. What are the pros and cons of each of the options? Step 5, now we have known the pros and cons of the options. The next thing is for us to develop a plan, right? Then step 6, you implement the plan. And step 7, you monitor and evaluate and even adjust where necessary. So those are the 7 steps involved in planning. So what are the principles of effective planning? So that resonates to the question we have here. Elucidate the principle of effective planning. So that's the, and this is the answer to this question. Elucidate the principle of effective planning. Now, whenever you are planning, how do we know whether what that thing that you have planned is correct or not? There are some features, there are some qualities, or there are some characteristics that a good planning must have. Number one is that clarity of goals. It must be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. That your planning must have a clarity of goals. It must not be vague. There must be clarity of what you want to achieve in your planning. Then the next one is flexibility. Your plan should not be too rigid. It should give room for adjustment. Okay? Your plan should not be rigid. It shouldn't be cast in stone. It should give you rooms for adjustment. And the third one is realism, meaning whatever you are planning must be realistic. If the capacity of your farm is to produce 25 metric tons of cassava per hectare, don't go and set a target that we want to produce 100 metric tons when you know that your capacity is 25 metric tons. So that is not a realistic plan. So anything you want to plan must be realistic. Okay. Then number four, it has to be a risk-based, meaning prioritization. Your planning should be risk-based. That is, you should focus more attention on the area that have high impact on you. That's what I mean by that. Focus on the area that has high impact on you. Then inclusiveness is the last one, meaning it must be all encompassing. So these are the 5 principles of effective planning. Number one is it must be smart. That's clarity. Flexibility, it must not be too rigid. Realism, it should be something that is realistic. Don't go and set unnecessary targets. Something that you know you cannot achieve. Don't go and set it for yourself and kill yourself. Okay, I'll start blaming everybody because you have failed to plan properly. Prioritization, focus more on those activities with high level of risk. That's prioritization. Then the last one is inclusiveness. Your planning should be all encompassing. So I want to assume that I've been able to analyze the principle of effective planning. So let me hold on for now. Any comment from anyone, or is there someone that want to add one or two things to what I've just said now before I proceed? So this is the principle of effective planning. So I need a contributor, someone to say one or two things about this so that I can take a breather. Anyone? Just to further expatiate more on this principle of effective planning, anybody should please speak. Who is going? Who is going? Who is going?
Question.
Ima, carry on, bro.
Yes, please. This material, is it class material?
It is Dr. Abu's material, sir. You know,
Okay. I've not seen this material before.
Because you don't come to class. I will send it to the platform when I'm done.
Yes, you are dragging me, Kazim, in front of everybody.
Did I lie? You know they come to school now. So, but no issue. I'll send it. I'll send it to the group. Oh yeah, don't go. Explain this principle of effective planning. I say you should not go. Explain this principle of effective planning again based on what I've just explained now. Let it think on everybody's head. Yes.
Okay, so in the principle of effective planning, number one is clarity of goals. Of course, using the SMART approach, that's the most important part of having an effective plan. So, of course, your goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. I believe we can all clarify that or understand that. Flexibility is also a principle of effective plan. Of course, your plan should be able to change how the economy is changing. For instance, if you planned, maybe to go to the market as at last year, if you're going to the market now, your plan should be able to change. You must provide for the fact that the economy is ever changing under this Tinubu's regime. Realism, of course, your plan should be realistic. You shouldn't plan what you cannot achieve. Plan something that you know is within your space. There's a difference between a plan and a vision. A vision, of course, it's expected to outlive you. Your plan is not expected to outlive you. It's something that you should be able to achieve. So you should be realistic enough. Prioritization, of course, you must prioritize the important things, right, to achieve your goal. In the sense that your use of resources, whatever you're using, for instance, I explained going to the market. It means that with your plan, when you're going to the market, don't buy what you don't need. Buy exactly what you need, which means prioritize the things that you really need. Uh, you know, that's that idea of planning. And of course, inclusiveness. In your plan, involve stakeholders. That's exactly why you see that in companies in their AGM, whatever they are planning to do, that strategic plan of that comes from the board of directors, they put the shareholder they put the shareholders in the loop, put relevant stakeholders in the loop, so that everybody is carried along in that corporate plan or that strategic plan. So I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I love the another angle to this analysis. So still on planning, I want someone, preferably a female, to run us through the steps in planning process. This thing must think tonight, by force. It must think on everybody's head. I want someone, preferably a female, to run us through this planning process. Who want to do that for us?
Hello, Mr. Kazim.
Yes, sir, Prof. Alabi.
Yeah, I just want to, before the female person will come up to say one or two things, I just have to chip in one thing here. When you mention inclusiveness, I think inclusiveness is more or less like a communication, like that is getting people know about the plans that we have and how we are meant to run with the plan. It's all about inclusiveness. And there's no how you can separate inclusiveness with effective communications.
Absolutely. Me carrying everybody along, including all stakeholders in your planning process, correct? That's correct, Abby?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think that is not an inclusiveness means it must be complete, right? You get everyone involved in your planning process. So who want to do this for us? I will call you out. So anybody can be called. If I call you, just know that I like you and I want you to know these things. That's the essence of calling you. In case I call you, know that I like you and I want you to know these things. So my spirit said I should call. Hey, they're now on hold now. On hold. My spirit said I should call. Oh, many. So let's start with Joy. Joy, can you run us through these 7 stages? 7 steps in planning. Joy, based on how you understand it tonight, quickly explain it to us. 7 steps involved in planning, Joy. Joy is not there. Anu, Oya, save Joy. Anu Olusayo, I'm referring to you. Okay. Oya, Joy, run us through these steps in the planning process. I know you get ready. Another one, I will still ask you another thing. Run us through these 7 steps, please. How you understand it now, based on what we discussed this evening.
Okay, good evening. Okay, can you display it, please? Let me take that.
It's on display already. It's on display already.
Okay, good
But
evening.
in the exam, it won't be displayed. Good evening.
And let me use this one. Okay, so number 1, identify objectives. So when planning, you need to define what you want to achieve, like what every other person has said contributed to this. So define what you need to, the goal you want to achieve, and using the SMART, using the SMART to define your objectives, which means that your goal or the plan you have must be specific to what you want to do. It must be measurable. It must be relevant to what you want to do, or realistic, achievable, and then time bound. Analyze current situation, meaning that you have to look at your existing conditions, look at what you have currently. Let me use, for example, I want to start up a business of buying and selling of buying and selling of foodstuffs, not just in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria. So I first of all would have to, so looking at my current situations, what do I have currently to enable me achieve that business idea that I have come up with? What are the resources? Then what might probably be the challenges that may pop up, so that I can plan to mitigate those challenges in case it comes up. Then explore alternatives. So what are the different possible strategies or alternative that will be available for me to achieve the goals that I want to achieve? Then number 4, evaluate options. So I know there's this analysis, it's what analysis that is basically used. You analyze your strengths, the weakness, the threats, and the opportunities that are available to the plans that you want to do. Analyze the pros and the cons of each alternative that are available to you, the strategies that you want to use to achieve the goals that you have set. Then evaluate the options. Evaluating the options, sorry, I missed it up. Explore alternatives. That means that look at various ways you can achieve the goals that you have set. Then evaluate options using SWOT analysis. So looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and your threats. Develop a plan of action, and create a detailed roadmap. Okay, so in this one, you want to set up a plan of action. You have identified the objective. You have looked at, evaluate the current situations, explore alternatives, evaluate options. Now you want to develop a plan. How do I achieve this goal that I want to achieve? And then look at the best course of action that will enable you to achieve the goal. Implement the plan. So after you have set up 1 to 6, then you carry out the plan that you have.
Okay. Thank you. So that's another perspective. So let's move on for now. Let's move on. Many people are still going to speak tonight because I just want this planning to stick. So let's look. Okay, we've discussed it. So what are the benefits of effective planning? So meaning, if you plan well, what do you intend to gain if you plan well? First one is the goal alignment. So there will be more or less like a goal congress, right? You are all working towards achieving the same objective. That's number 1. Number 2, resource optimization. You will be able to optimize your results properly. That is making best use of your resources. Then we have risk mitigation. You will be able to manage any potential risk very well because of your good planning. Any potential risk, you'll be able to manage them very well. That's your myth. Then improve decision making. Your decision making skill will surely be improved with proper planning. Then enhance coordination and increase productivity. So these are what you tend to gain if you are able to plan very well. So what are the challenges involved in planning? The first one is uncertainty. So you can plan that today we are only going to consume 50 liters of diesel on the assumption that there will be power for 10 hours. What if NEPA did not bring light at all? Meaning that this 50 liters of diesel that you have planned, you will surely use more than that. So uncertainty is a factor too. Natural disaster, political changes. So many things can affect your planning, uncertainty. All right. Then inadequate resources too. So when you are planning, so your resources will surely may not be adequate. So you have to keep cutting costs or cutting corners somewhere just to be able to make sure that you manage or you do with what you have. That's inadequate resources. Then resistance to change. Sometimes, so when you are trying to bring in some form of planning through changes, right, you might face some resistance from people because everybody wants to continue doing things the way they are used to. Nobody wants to accept changes. So you need to be prepared for this as well. Then lastly is over planning. If you plan too much, so it can result into bureaucracies in taking decision, right? When there are too many planning, so it can result into bureaucracy. So what are the tools that you can use in planning? You can use your Gantt chart. There is a tool called a software called Gantt chart. This Gantt chart is available if you know how to use Microsoft Project. There is a tool called Gantt chart where it's just for you to all your activity, there will be a timeline assigned to them. There will be resources needed. I don't think it will go into details and telling us to explain this. It's more technical. You can use SWOT analysis, you can use budgeting, or you can use PET. PET means project evaluation review techniques, and CPMA critical parts method. If you still remember your, what's it called? Your network analysis taught by Dr. Jobo, second semester. So that is also a very big tool you can use. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is all about planning. That he said, read everything about planning. So I believe I've been able to summarize myself and my colleagues, Emmanuel and Joy. Hopefully, we've been able to summarize what this planning entails, the definition of planning, the types of planning, I'm coming, a minute. The steps involved in planning and the principle of effective planning, including the benefits and challenges. All right, Awalu, bro, over to you.
Okay, Mr. Kazim, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Well, how are you? Well done. Thank you for your effort in trying to make things easier for us. God bless you.
Amen.
Then what I want to ask is that this exam now, is it that will it be in like 3 sections, answer one question from each lecturer, or you understand? So that like Dr. Abu, there is business plan and this planning. Is it that I thought we are supposed to answer maximum of 4 questions?
We're answering 4 questions. There will be at least 2 to 3 sections, right? So you'll be required to answer 4, which means that in one of the sections you might answer the 2 that you are okay with. So we'll look at the past question tonight as
Okay,
well.
but
At least we'll look at one of the years.
Okay, and
I'm
I
with you.
thought it's 4 lecturers that are taking the course. I said I thought it's 4
Yes, 4
lecturers that are taking the course, that took the course.
Okay, based on the past
Hello?
questions that we have, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Based on the past questions that we have previously reviewed, like let me load the past questions now just to quickly answer that. Then we'll move on. Although we have planned to review some past questions, let me load the past questions now. We'll just look at one of the year, then you understand the pattern, the way the questions are set.
Yes, if it's 4 lecturers, that means you can't answer more than 1 per each lecturer. It's just
You can.
just
You
so
can.
that one
You can.
know.
You can. There are 2 sections in
Okay,
small business and
okay.
agric. That's how they have been testing it. They will ask you to answer 2 from section A, 2 from question B. That is how they have been setting their question in all the years that we've checked. There are 2 sections.
No.
So you answer 2 from section A and 2 from section B. So you use your church mind to know which 2 you are answering. Right? 4 lecturer taught us, but there will be 6 questions, section A and section B. Just take two from each of the section. Correct? So at least that is how the questions are set up to last semester. That is how the questions are set. So any other questions from anyone before I proceed?
Okay.
So we are done with planning. Thank you. So that is the end of planning, ladies and gentlemen. So I believe we've done. So this is being recorded. You can as well repeat the stuff again as many times as possible. So if you look at this now, we are done with. We are done AOC. We have 6 AOC here. So with this now, we are done with the first 3. We are done with A, B, C. Now the next one that we need to discuss is business plan. So I need everybody's attention here. So I want to run us through business. I know that most of us, whenever they ask us to write a business plan, we outsource it, right? We give it to somebody to help us, or you go online to read the business plan. So now tonight, all of us will write a business plan together in less than 30 minutes. So are we ready for this challenge? I believe we are ready. So I need someone to give us a small scale business. Just tell me any business. Let's write business plan on it together. If we do it together, it will stink. So can you name a small business that we can start? Anything? What do you want to sell? Anything? Someone should suggest a small scale business for us. Then we'll write the business plans together.
Soap business.
You said what?
Soap business.
Okay, do you want to produce soap, or you want to be buying and reselling?
Produce.
Bakery business. Bakery.
Let me use bakery. Bakery is relatable. So we want to write business plan for bakery business. Everybody should not go and write bakery in the exam, but you can use this concept. So when you're writing a business plan, your business plan should have the following section, which are basically universal section, right? You should have executive summary. So under this executive summary, you want to just give a very brief background of the nature of your business, what your business entails. That's executive summary. Just giving a high level summary of your business, right? Then you have the key details. So I'll explain the key details too when we are writing it together. Then the description of your business. This is where you write the name of your business. Okay, Itoro, your hand is up. Can you speak quickly before we move on?
Hi, Kazim. Good evening. So I
Good
wanted to
evening.
ask, right, the business plan, is it going to be strictly on any farm product, or it could just be any business plan at all?
Any small scale, not farm, any small scale.
Okay, that's
Any
nice. Thank
small
you.
scale. Yeah, any small scale. So thank you. You can mute now. You are in a noisy place. All right. So your company descriptions, this one will show the name of your company, your vision, your mission, and unique selling points. That's what this one is going to be. Then your third section is market analysis. Just write a very small things about the market. Who are the people you want to be selling to? Are they school children, or what are your demand, your customer need and behavior? Just write something about this, right? Then number 4 is the marketing sales strategy. Which channels do you want to use? Do you want to go and be advertising on radio? Do you want to be doing billboard? How do you want to advertise your products and the sales channels? Is it that you are going to open a restaurant where people will be coming and buying, or you will be selling on the roadside? What is your sales channels? You explain it. Then operational plan. How do you want to start? What do you need to start up? Oh, I need to register with CAC. I need this license. I need to register with the Bakery Association of Nigeria. What is your pricing strategies? Daily plan. How many do you want to sell per day? So you write them under your operational. Then financial plan is what is your startup budget and what is your projected profit or loss? Just put something hypothetical there. Then you write about SWOT. What are the strengths of your business, your weakness, opportunity? Just write one line on each of these. Then what are the potential risks involved in doing this business? What are the risks you are exposed to? E.g., there are too many people selling the bread or whatever. How do you make your own bread to stand out from others? That's your risk analysis. Then what plan do you have as your growth plan? In the next 5 years, I want to turn 1 bakery to 20 bakeries. You explain there. Conclusion, do a final remarks on conclusion and you are good. So these are the 9 sections that you should follow in writing a business plan. So it is very, very easy. If you can remember this 9 section, all the best. Okay. It is very, very easy to write. So let's start some things now. Executive summary now. Executive summary. So under this executive summary, I'm going to write about the brief history. So I will say the business involve producing. Should we say that we'll be buying the bread from a bakery and reselling it, or are we the one that is going to bake it? What do you think? So I would rather let's assume that I want to do a buying and selling of bread is my business plan. Because it's a small scale, I would say buying and selling of breads. So you can say the business involving purchasing breads in wholesale quantity from local baker and resell from local baker and resell in rural to communities in rural area at a margin of, let's say you want to be making 10%. Just write all these things, right? So the under this is just like executive summary. So under the key details, what do you write under the key details? First one is that the first one is, what startup capital do you need? How much do you need to start up capital? You can put you need 50K to start the business. Okay. What is the initial inventory you need to keep? E.g., I need to start with 100 loaf of bread. That's your initial inventory. Then what is your monthly sales target? E.g., every day I'll be selling 100K. So, and I will work 5 days a week, meaning in a month, I should be selling 2,000 loaf of bread. That is your target per month. Okay. Then which location are you selling this thing from? Location is Agege, Lagos. And what is your profit margin? Profit margin. You want to be making how many percent? Let's say 10%. So I'm done with my executive summary, guys. Your executive summary is as simple as this. You explain what your business is all about. Then you give them some basic information. So once you are written your executive summary, then the next thing is move on to where? Business descriptions. What is your business descriptions now? Let's discuss business description. So your business description, we cover your name of the business. Who gave us the bakery business? Let me say KZ Bread. That's the name, KZ Bread, right? That's the name of the business. CAC number, if you have any, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Type of the business type. You say retail selling of bread. That's the type of the business. Location is Agege, Lagos. I'm done with my business description. That is all you need to do about business. So if you have your vision statement, write it. Mission. My vision statement is your long time to be the number 1 bread seller in Agege. That's my mission. Then my vision, that's my vision. Your mission will now be more details. Okay, I will say if my vision is to be the number 1 bread seller in Agege, not me. I'm just using myself hypothetical. I can't be a bread seller. I don't like the business. That's your vision. Your mission is what? Your mission will now be more granular than vision. Vision is something that is wide. However, your mission will be granular. I will say to provide household, okay, a quality, a daily quality bread that will meet their requirements. If you check now, my vision is wide, whereas my mission is granular. I want to become number 1 bread seller is my vision, but my mission now went deeper again. How? Okay, then what's your core value? Core value is integrity. Core value, integrity. And what else can we write as core value? And sincerity or something. And sincerity or whatever. Put it there. What's your unique selling point? What is your unique selling point? If you are right, maybe your unique selling point is home delivery of hot quality hot bread. This is what you use as your USP. Okay, just like what Boku is doing now. Boku, their bread now is always hot. That's why when you go to Boku, you see about 100 people queuing for bread, either morning, afternoon, or night. So you do the same thing for market analysis now. Under market analysis, let me just say target market now. I want to be selling this thing to low income earners. These are my target markets. My bread is for low income earners, right? The customer needs. What is the customer need? Customers are in need of the customer are in need of high quality bread with low price. Okay, that is what customer wants. Then what is my demand? The demand is bread is a staple food which is always in high demand. That is exactly what you write. So I've just done my market analysis here now. This is all about my market analysis. Then the next thing is after you've done your market analysis, then you move on to your strategies, your marketing channel. So just give me a few seconds. It's about to rain. Let me close all these windows up. Just a few seconds, please.
I'm not hearing anything. I hope all is well.
I requested for a few seconds, though, so I'm back now. So for the next one is the marketing channel. How do you want to sell your bread? How do you want to sell your bread? Maybe through word of mouth or house to house distribution. You explain how you want to sell it. Then your sales channel, maybe you display through the counter. These are the channels of your sales. So this is what you do. Startup requirements, I think we've discussed this. Under the startup requirements, you need to register with CAC or whatever. Then your pricing strategy, you want to penetrate through a price penetration to attract customer. So your daily plans, how do you want to operate this on daily basis? So that's what you write for daily plan. Then financial plan here, you write about your startup budget. How much do you need to start? For example, we say 50,000 naira. How many loaf of bread can that 50,000 buy? Do you need to rent a store? What do you need to start? And your pure health. So you also write on your SWOT analysis too. What is the strength? What is the weakness, opportunity? So you write on them, risk analysis. So I can write as many as possible. I don't want to spend the whole day on this business plan. Please, do we have an idea of how a business plan looks like now? Let me stop there for now. On this bakery business, do we have an idea of our business plan? But just know the key components. First, executive summary. Second, the nature of the business, that the descriptions of the business. Third, market analysis. Fourth, your strategies and your marketing and sales strategies. Fifth, operational plan. Sixth, financial plan, SWOT, risk analysis, growth, and conclusion. So that is how a business plan should look like. Any question on this, please? Okay, there is a message. Please, any question on this? Case Bakery, Eshe, Atigbo. Any question on the business plan? I want to move on. Okay, no questions. Let's move on to the next one. So, meaning of small scale business and agricultural finance. So here, I will list out the various characteristics of small scale business. So that is what I'm going to list out for us. So you remember that we have done this several times, right? So let me look for those characteristics. Yeah. This, what you have here. These are the characteristics of small scale business. I'm already wake on the floor tonight now. A serious going be this to sleep. So where is this? Okay, many of small scale business. This is it. This is its solution. So in defining small scale business, you need to understand these following characteristics of small scale business. The first one is that small amounts of money is involved. So in any small scale business, you only need small amount of what? Money. You don't need big capital. Only small amount of money is involved. Then there is small size of turnover. That's another features of a small scale business. You need a small size of what? You don't need big money to start, just a small amount. With 50K, you can start something. Even with 10K, you can start pure water business in traffic. Just buy pure water, give it to boys to go and be selling it. They will be coming back. Okay, with your capital, then you make some small profits. Then the next one is small number of employees. A small scale business does not require large number of employees. So you only require small number of employees to start a small scale business. And a small scale business, there is high level of entrepreneurship, meaning that it is the same one man that will be running the show of everything. One person will be running all the shows together. Is the one that will be doing everything, taking all decisions. That's high level of entrepreneurship. Then another one is that if the owner die, the business may also die with it. If the owner die, the business may also die. That's another features of a small scale business. Then next one is limited access to funding. So small scale business, they don't have so much access to funding. The access to funding is very limited, right? Then high level of informality simply means that the way they run their things, they don't need to follow due process. It is what Oga says. That's the final. Then combined ownership and management structures is very important too. One man is one managing the ownership and management structure, and lack of good corporate governance. So all these 10 features we have listed now, these are the characteristics of what determine a small scale business. Okay. Then another one I would like to discuss is what are the factors that determine sources of finance for a small scale business? What are the factors? You know, we said that you can either do a short, there are 3 sources of finance for a small scale business. We have the short, we have the medium, and we have the long-term sources, right? So what are those factors that determine which of those sources that you should go for? What are the factors that determine which of the sources of finance that you should go for? The first one is the cost of capital. The cost of capital is like your interest rates. Interest rate determine whether you should go for a short time, medium, or long times, right? Then the second one is the purpose of the funding. What do you need the funding for? The purpose of the funding will also determine whether you should go for a long time, short time, or medium fund. If you need a short time fund for like working capital, then you go for a short time borrowing. You cannot go and borrow long time money, long time fund for a working capital. That's mismatch. Okay. Tax considerations too is very key. Okay. If you know you want to have a lot of reduction in your taxes, then you go for your debt as against equity. because any interest you pay on your debenture is tax deductible. All right. Then repayment terms is also a factor. Risk tolerance, size of the business or turnover also determine this type of loan that you should go for. If your business is making just 50 million in a month, there is a limit to the loan you can borrow, Abi, because of the size of your business. Then availability and accessibility of funds is very important as well. If you go and borrow BOI loan, the way you will be able to access normal banks loan is different from how you'll be able to access BOI loan, because BOI loan or some of their loans, they are restricted to some certain transactions. Before you withdraw, you have to go and bring LPO for this, that. So accessibility is always very important. Then your current cash flows too and the capital structure is important. If you don't want your capital structure to be diluted, then you go for debt. But if you don't mind your capital structure being diluted, you can do equity. Then we have the legal and regulatory requirements. So all these things are the factors that determine which type of sources of finance that you should go for. All right. So I don't know if all this analysis is clear to everybody. So these are the factors that determine the type of sources of finance that you should go for. All right. So we've been able to cover that. So like I said, this F, I've not been able to finalize this. Let me keep this one till we'll meet on Thursday. So we'll discuss this F on Thursday, right? So, all right. So I believe I've been able to cover all the AOC, right? Except this F. Just leave this F. We'll take care of this F on Thursday. Okay. So now that we've discussed that, let's now review past questions. So let me take one past questions then. We call it a day. I will just take 1 year. I will review one past questions with us and we call it a day. I hope I have the solutions here. Okay. Yeah. So let's analyze this particular past questions then. Once we are done with this past question, we call it a day. So like someone asked before, the way this is being structured is that there are always 2 sections, okay? And out of which we are to attempt two questions each from each of the questions. So each of the sections we have three questions. So altogether, we should be expecting 6 questions. And out of the 6 questions, we will be required to attempt only 4 out of the 6. So we would attempt 2 from section A and 2 for section B. And the total marks is 70. That's about 17.5 marks each for each of the questions, right? So let's discuss these questions now. The first one is, so the first question is this, what we are taking is is 2022 and 2023. Okay, that's what we are taking. Question number 1, first of all. Discuss the concept and scope of agricultural finance in Nigeria. Discuss the concept and scope of agricultural finance in Nigeria. So the first thing there are 2 in 1 question. First question is explain agricultural finance. Then the second question is explain the scope of agricultural finance. So if you look at agricultural finance, they are basically the process of ensuring there is sufficient funds for managing your agricultural activities. That is what your agricultural finance is all about. Ensuring there is sufficient fund for managing your agricultural activities. So it refers to the provision and management of financial services such as loan, credit, investment, and insurance to support agricultural activity. Just making sure that there is funding available. That is what agricultural finance is all about. So the scope is grouped into 3. For example, for your short-term financing, what do you need short-term financing for? Number one is you need short-term financing for working capital and seasonal loans. You need short-term financing for working capital and your seasonal loans, right? That's what you need your short-term financing for. Then your medium-term financing is for capital expenditure, e.g., you want to purchase tractor, you want to do some irrigation, you want to do trenching. Those are your medium-term requirements. Or infrastructural development as well is also under medium-term. Then you can also need it for your microfinance service also, e.g., you can have a microcredit for smallholder farmers. There are some banks that their own is that to grant credit facilities for small-scale farmers, right? They will come together as a group and they will grant them facilities. So it could be for that also. Agric insurance, we also have agric insurance too. These people, their own is to ensure that all farmers insure their crops. When they insure their crops, so in the event of any eventualities, they can always have something to fall back on, right? Then we also have initiative from CBNs too, such as the Anchor Borrowers Plan of Buhari that was embezzled. This money was embezzled during Buhari's time, Anchor Borrowers Plan. So these are just the various scope of it. So let me leave it there for now. You can read up. I'm sharing these materials with us when I'm done. Okay? Now, let's move on now. Critically, it is quite noisy here, so I'm kind of raising my voice, which is very not comfortable at all. It's raining heavily, so I'm raising my voice to talk. Let me manage and finish this, right? So, critically evaluate the role of credit in agricultural development in Nigeria. Critically evaluate the role of credit. The question is, why do you need credit finance for your agricultural development? So these ones, we can use our knowledge to answer this without even reading books. Number one is that it's to enhance your production. You need credit facility to expand your production capacity. Okay, purchases of raw material. Another one is facilitating expansion and diversification. You need it. Then stabilizing. Okay, Prof. Alabi, your hand is up.
Okay, sir. I just have a kind of another angle to that scope of agriculture. You know, I'm just of the opinion that if we ask a question that what are the various form of financing agricultural projects, we can say short-term finance, medium-term finance, and long-term finance. But when we're now saying scope, I think scope is all about importance of agriculture finance to the economy, which in one way or the other will enhance economic growth, provision of jobs, and all that. I'm just thinking, you know, from elementary importance of agriculture in secondary school, they say agriculture provides us food. It is a source of employment generation, source of foreign exchange for the country that really, you know, put all their this thing on agriculture and all that. I'm just thinking from that angle, you know, scope is.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm
Your
looking at the
perspective.
definition of scope. I don't think I
Yes.
will align. I don't think I will align with you, sir. So, scope means the various products. Look at the definition of scope here. Scope of agricultural finance in Nigeria encompasses the various financial services and products that is available for agricultural value chain. Scope meaning what are the various products that is available, types of products, or type of finance that is available. I agree with you that it could be short term, medium, or whatever. So scope, we're not talking about the advantage here, sir. This is not the advantage, this is not the benefit of. We're talking about the scope, the various products that is available. So that is why I listed a couple of them. Yeah. So,
noted.
Yes, sir. Question number 2. What are the roles of agricultural finance? Here you have to list just the benefits of agricultural finance. Number 1 is for expansion. Number 1 is to enhance productivities and production. Number 2 is facilitate expansion and diversification. We have stabilizing farm income and mitigating risk. So you can read up this. These are basically advantage of credit facilities in agriculture. Then number 3, discuss all the sources of finance for agricultural in Nigeria. Discuss all the sources finance for the agricultural, all the sources of finance. I think the question is all the sources of finance. I don't know, maybe there is a typo here. All the sources of finance. Okay. I think this solution is not correct, actually. It's not correct. Because if we are to discuss all the sources of finance, we have the short time, medium, and long, right? Under the short time for borrowing from friends, all those things, right? Medium terms, we have medium times, and we also have long times. But here, this is a little bit, I think it is correct, but it's a little bit broader. We have former financial institution. You can borrow money through commercial banks, loan overdraft, trade facilities. Okay, no, sorry. Let's get back home. This is correct. Those short and medium or whatever it talks about, those ones are for small scale business. But this is talking about the agricultural finance. So the solution is correct. You can either do it through commercial banks, get loan and overdraft, trade financing from them, or through development and specialized bank, e.g. Bank of Agriculture, banks of industries. You can seek for agric loan from them as well, or through government intervention, e.g. we have the Anchor Borrowers Plan, Commercial Activity Credit Schemes, Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk Sharing, NISRA is there, federal and state government programs. There are Operation Feed the Nation. There are many of them like that. Even through microfinance banks too, you can approach them for facilities, right? Esusu and the Rights Credit Association, you can approach them for facilities. You can get it from cooperative and private sector funding, and so on and so forth. So there are too many things. There are too many informations there. So what I would just advise you is read up and select the top 5 or whatever that you can remember. Okay. So that's what I would advise. There are too many information there. Just read up and select the one you can remember there. So question number 4. The small and medium scale enterprise serve as engine of growth in an economy. Hence, their role cannot be overemphasized. In the light of that statement, critically examine 10 challenges faced by SME in Nigeria and how to deal with them. So what are the challenges that SMEs are facing in Nigeria? The first one is they have limited access to funding. They have limited access to funding. And how do you deal with them? There should be more funding by government or credit schemes. Second one is inadequate infrastructure. And how do you resolve them? Government should ensure there is either they do a PPP or they look for other ways to ensure there is infrastructure. Third one is multiple taxation and regulatory burden. So this can be resolved through tax harmonizations and unification of all taxes as against having multiple taxes. Then inconsistent government policy, read up. So inadequate skills. So you can read all these. There are about 10 or more points here. So just summarize them on your own way. When you summarize, you will not forget. When you summarize this point on your own, you will not forget it. Solutions are there. It's just for you to summarize them on your own and move on. Okay. Then question number 5. Distinguish between financial and business risk that are associated with agricultural finance. So here too, we are to discuss financial and business risk. So when we say financial risk, these are the risks that is associated with finance, sources for finance. So those are the financial risk associated with sources for finance. That's your financial risk. Whereas the other one, which is known as the business risk, this one involves the risk associated with doing business. That is what business is all about. So you can read up on the sources of risk. For your financial risk, you have interest fluctuation, credit availability, debt exposure. These are all financial risks. Then business risk could be in form of your production related risk, regulatory compliance, or even unforeseen circumstances too could be part of your business risk. So what are the impacts for agricultural enterprise too? So we have them here. Please, I'm pleading with us to read. Okay, please kindly read up on all this so that you have a better understanding of the solutions. Then I also prepare a chart here to differentiate between financial risk and business risk. Please read up to understand it. Okay. Now the last one is this. Number 6, a ratio is defined as a individual quotient of two. This is Dr. Ajayi's question. Between two mathematical expressions. In the light of that statement, critically examine 6 limitations of ratios. So what are the 6 limitations of ratios? Number 1 is 6 seasonal and cyclical variations too might affect your ratio. Sometimes too, farming activity run based on their seasonal or cyclical cycle. So sometimes during the boom season of farming, your current ratio will be very, very okay. But during the time when there is no low yield and low production, your ratios might not look okay. But that doesn't mean that everything is bad, right? So incomplete or inconsistent financial records too. Most of the farmers don't keep proper records. So this can also result in you not getting it right with your ratio. Then you have limited reflection of external factors. So your ratios only focus more on your financial metrics, but they don't consider those things happening outside your financial statements, which are also significant as well. So ratio doesn't consider all that. Valuation changes, historical ratio is more historical, all right? So it may not be realistic because you are using just the past record, and various accounting changes in accounting policy, various changes in accounting methods too can affect your ratios. So they have just glanced through this question. So when we meet on Thursday, sorry, we'll complete that specialized whatever schemes that Dr. Yewale gave us. Then once we are done with those ones, we'll continue with the past questions. So we'll start from this 2021 and 2022 when we meet next week. All right. When we meet on Thursday, sorry, next week is 812. Farmer and small scale business is ending on Saturday by God's grace. So next week we are discussing, what's it called? 812 only. So let me stop recording now. For now, this is where my power reached for tonight. Any questions before we call it a day? Any questions, please?